Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Regaton. I spent some time off camera rebuilding this gate. Let's go take care of a couple things before we attack the Great Garrison. Alright, all the way down here to the Tirabade Residence. Despite their high standing in the city, the Tirabade family lived in a simple house far away from the wealthy neighborhoods. Most of the houses on this street are now ruined and abandoned, but this one seems intact. Although the broken door makes one wonder if there's still anything of value left inside. Yeah, experience.
Cover me, all right?
Good job, Lan.
I refuse to accept their statement.
Did you see that?
My skills are absolute.
No reason to pause.
It's time to act.
Meditate on your mistakes. It might make you feel better.
I'd actually keep Oberg in the back.
We should move.
Rely on
The
me.
world
My
just
tail is
forget
restless.
me.
Something wrong?
You are my favorite.
Alright, there's a couple fights in this area. First one's not too bad.
I'm gone.
I will help where I can. Alright, take you!
Nenio, you should probably get back.
Don't hold back.
They better start running.
Alright, so Oberg, I need to check his damage real quick. No, his attack. So it looks like he is still taking a penalty. I just want to make sure that this isn't working. I think I have to respec him.
A bright future awaits us.
I'm not gonna waste any time. We're gonna run inside immediately before my buffs wear off. Because we have another fight to deal with. And now we need to activate all of these scrolls. And level up Sunshine. He does get a feat here. Ability and Perception. And Improved Initiative would be really good on him as well. As would Power Attack. But getting him to dive bomb the back line sooner is better. So we'll grab that first.
We do it
Might be
way.
trap, might be treasure. Don't mind me.
Are we ready to move out?
We will win this war. Lead on!
Alright, let them come to me. Ulberg hang back for right now.
Stab you or zap you? Why not both? Can't you just die already?
You crossed the wrong line.
Alright. Succubus is kind of a mini boss here. That's why I brought Protection from Evil, so she can't dominate my companions.
You should have run! Follow if you dare.
Alright, we got a Cloak of Disguise.
Can't hide from me.
Erebeth's Letter. Anevia. If you're reading this, know that I'm alive and I'm rallying a troop of survivors to rise to the city's defense. We're gonna fight our way to the Defender's Heart Tavern. Set up our command there. Hold the line until help arrives. Or if the goddess wills it, we'll launch an attack on the Grey Garrison. I love you. I trust that we'll see each other again in this world. Erebeth. Crusades is seen by ordinary folk by Tullius Mara. A story recorded by Tullius Mara from the words of Warren, a peasant from the village of Darkfords. Want to know why they call old Ganty the Crusader? This is what happened. Ogar the farmer died, leaving 3 sons. The 2 older ones divided the land and lived their lives, and Ganty, the youngest one, was a square peg in a round hole, as they say. He only knew how to bask under a tree and eat pies. What was he to do? Where could he apply himself? So he got a rusty old sword from the blacksmith's backyard, mounted a skinny horse and rode off over the hills and far away. Sooner or later he came to a castle. Inside it, there was a knight's wife, sitting around waiting for her husband to return from the Crusades. So Ganty sat down next to her, saying, "Fair lady, your husband is a great man, and you deserve all compassion. I'm a crusader myself, used to fight the horrible spawn of the World Wound." And so on he rambled. He sat behind the stone walls for a month, gained 10 pounds, became even more well-groomed, and in the end looked like a baron. But he grew bored of the knight's wife. She was always pale and sad, and cried for days praying to Serenre. So Ganty waved her goodbye and went on his way. He rode and saw a mill on a river, and a miller's wife. Rosy cheeks, plump as a partridge. Ganty cozied up to her, saying, "Lady Miller's wife, does your husband happen to be at home?" "No, my good sir. Last year the Fae dragged him into the river," she said. So Ganty invited himself to stay at the mill. He lay on a soft bed, eating pies, drinking beer, and walking around the village. He had some nerve. Told everyone at the village tavern what a seasoned crusader he was. He feared no demon, and promised to show them what's what. So one moonlit night, when he was huffing and puffing on the widow, he felt her grabbing his back so strongly that he couldn't stand it. He looked down and there she was. A crone, horrible like a skeleton, with a crooked nose, eyes like embers, a hollow stomach, ribs sticking out, and claws instead of nails, thinking of a ripened grave. Try as he might, Ganty couldn't get away. The crone held him tight, hissing, "Where are you going, my sweet crusader? Come on, put your butt in my oven." She stuck out her long tongue and licked at her rotten teeth. Somehow Ganty wiggled away, leaving plenty of his skin and meat on her claws. He ran from the mill in a panic, ran all the way to the village naked and bleeding. So he's running and yelling, "Demons! Demons!" Well, the locals gathered with their axes and pitchforks and came to the mill, but it was empty. The crone was gone. They did find an ugly corpse in the basement, though. They knew it was the miller's wife, by her hair and clothes. That's when Ganty lost his mind. Now he sits under his brother's windows, staring into the distance, saying, "The demons are coming, the demons are coming." That's the only thing he'll say. And we also got Cloak of Disguise. This Cloak of Resistance +1 also grants its wearer a +3 competence bonus to stealth skill checks.
I'm off. I do what I must.
So what I'm going to do next is head back to the Defender's Heart and respec Ulbrich. I try not to respec, and I stick to my guns and live with my mistakes, but that feat is useless on Ulbrich as far as I know.
Let's prove their logic is lacking.
Clawing time.
This will hurt.
This will be the stuff of legend.
This will be quick.
Mind over muscle.
Your performance is lacking. You are lacking.
We do it my way.
I don't know that I've ever seen that random encounter before.
Follow if you dare.
Thought maybe there's dialogue for going to her house and taking her stuff. Oh, here we go. It is good to see you. What can I do for you? Would you like to renew your forces with excellent fighters? Do you know anything about a Pathfinder named Finian Dismar? Hylar rubs his chin. Let me think. Dismar. I have definitely heard the name before. Of course you have. I'm a Pathfinder too. So, you're the chief in these lands now. What about Lady Ari? When I left for the wound, she was just taking up the position. Hylar examines the talking weapon and chuckles sadly. I'm afraid Ari perished during the Third Crusade. Yes, now I remember. Finian Dismar went missing in the wound at the end of the Second Crusade. His name has been on the list of the fallen for a while. Well, here I am, alive and well. Write in your list that I'm back, and soon I'll file a detailed report about everything that happened to me. Finian's voice is full of joy. I knew it was a misunderstanding, but now everything will return to normal. I need to write to my folks. They probably think I'm dead too. Hallar shakes his head sadly. Poor lad. But such is the fate of a Pathfinder. We face the unknown. Sometimes the unknown wins, and our mind cannot take it. It's a little bit of foreshadowing. For Hallar himself. Oh, sorry, I'm on core. I can't actually respec. Alright, well fine. We'll stick with it then. Oh hey, hey Staunton. There's filth on the floor. Be a good lad and clean it up. Yes sir, right away. The sight of that traitor's dog turns my stomach. Why did the queen spare his life? Should have strung him up, as a warning to all cultists.
I do what I must.
As you should have, sir. Sothan greets you with a dour nod. I have seen how the other soldiers treat you. What about it? The dwarf's tone makes it clear that he has no interest in your answer. Guilty or not, they have no right to treat you that way. What rights does a traitor have? Sotton shrugs indifferently. Alright, so I said, please examine the items I'm carrying. Perhaps some of them could tell us a story. The storyteller nods politely. Let me touch them, and I'll tell you what I can see. The storyteller fiddles with a fragment of a gold buckle. An old thing, created long ago by a divine will. But the power that gave birth to it is lost in the darkness. However, the relic still lives on, though it has changed. I wonder what secret it is hiding. Would you like to know it? Bring me 5 vials of magic essence. I'll revive this object, and with it, its story. The elf looks at you with unusual impatience. Shall we?
I'm gone.
We can't restore that quite yet. We do have a new rapier for Melia.
We do it my way.
Let's rest up as well.
Scoot over. I want my scaly side facing the fire. My lizard side always gets colder than my warm-blooded side. Go figure.
I don't know if I've seen voice acting without the dialogue to match in this game. He said, go figure, but that wasn't part of the actual text.
If you dare.
Alright, so we need Camellia here. I'm going to swap out Woljif since they fill a similar role in the party. Alright, Gorm's Mansion. This manor in the city's wealthy quarter looks grand, but not overly opulent. It didn't attract a lot of enemy attention during the demonic invasion, perhaps due to the fact that its guards and servants had fled right after the first attacks. And demons are usually more interested in living victims than in their empty houses. On a failed ritual site. The scars of an explosion mar the ground here. Barely visible magical runes surround the crater, while components of a failed ritual lie scattered nearby. You can procure some reagents for creating consumable items here. Could knock that out.
Oh, they'll regret this.
I'll cut you wide open.
They don't know how fragile they are.
The spirits demand your blood. You are today's sacrifice.
I'm off.
Ah, there you are. At last. You certainly took your time. I thought perhaps you got lost on the way here. I was already regretting not drawing you a map. Horus's relief is palpable, even through his grousing. It's a tragedy to see one's house in such a sorry state. And ours had a few guards in my service, you know. Hope those blockheads died honorably, and didn't simply flee at the first sign of danger. Horus turns towards the corridor with a pensive expression on his face. My manor, you see, contains several items that are of great value to me. I wish to retrieve them before they are discovered by my fellow citizens, for in the current chaos seem to have taken to thieving and marauding like ducks to water. So here's what I want you to do. Take a stroll through my house, peek into the rooms. If you find anyone, kill them on the spot. That'll teach any other opportunists to stay away from Horus Gorm's manor. While I was standing here by the entrance, I could clearly hear the sound of someone rooting around inside. Any possessions of mine you find in there, you can keep. It's all as good as lost to me anyway. When you're sure the house is empty, give me a signal from my study window. Wave a torch around or something like that. You can decide when you get there. What are these valuable items that they're worth risking your life by going back to the manor? Never you mind. I'm paying you to clear out the ruffians inside, not to ask questions. Horus glares at you for a few seconds before dropping his gaze. In any case, you learn what this is all about just as soon as you clear the way for to my study for me. So, restrain your curiosity for now. You're not coming in with me. The very notion. You think I hire guards to do my bidding, just so I can put myself in danger along with them? No, no, no. I've taken on my fair share of risks already today. But all the same, to the risk of coming here even though you were well aware of the danger. What is it that draws you here so strongly, like a moth to a flame? Camellia, that's enough. Oh, it seems I hit a sore spot. She quickly covers a smile that flits across her face. Alright, I understand. Well, get on with it. Are you waiting for a special order? I shall await your signal. Horus pauses. And good luck in there, I suppose.
I do what I must. I'm always ready.
No reason to pause.
I'll watch your back.
Adayana. Inimosi travisi. Inimosi travisi. Inimosi travisi. Inimosi travisi.
I'm gone.
I hope you appreciate
We do it
this.
my way.
A box filled with a variety of whips and floggers. A set of collars of various sizes. Chains, handcuffs, shackles, a collection to rival of prisons. We also got Sickle of Falter. Whenever this +1 sickle lands a hit on an enemy, the target must pass a reflex saving throw DC 11 or become staggered for 1 round.
All they took from me, I'll take back. Let's try something else.
You won't survive me. Is this a mock fight?
I'll remove this obstacle.
A new recipe, onion soup. I believe that's Camelia's favorite recipe. Which would make sense as we found it in Gorm's
Follow
mansion.
if you dare.
Rely on me.
Open your heart to me.
I am never wrong.
We are the light. They are the darkness.
Don't hold back!
The inheritor, guide my
Blowing
blade.
time. This will be the stuff of legend.
Yes.
Alright, books galore. A secret overlord's the essence of the world order. Until recently, we knew this world as it was described in books and stories. A sewer, torn apart by hyenas that separate us with nations and borders. Oppress us with extortion and lies. Assert their authority and power. However, someone else's hand rules these slaves who act like masters. It's a threat far more intimidating than a handful of arrogant fools. Our lands are secretly ruled by the most ancient creatures of Golarion, the inhabitants of the ever-dark depths, who know both past and future. People are led along paths they cannot see, do not have the power to leave, to an end known only to the hidden masters. See, couple typos in here. Some insist that the signs are purely coincidental, but they point to a vast conspiracy. Only a fool can fail to see how the myriad coincidences weave into a great cobweb, or they've submitted their very own will and sworn their allegiance to our unseen masters in the depths. Battle in the Valley of Fire by Horus Aldori. Argon was knocked flat. He lay gasping, arms spread, a lump of rage rising in his throat. He remembered his dream. Black soil, red ravens in the empty sky, the coarse croaks ringing in his ears like a taunt. Cora would never take Roslyn. Never. Aldori sprang to his feet, as if the blood-soaked soil was driving him forward. With a cry of rage, the Sword Lord rushed into the battle. The sky turned scarlet with blood, as he fiercely chopped off his enemies' heads. The scarlet horizon drew closer, and its roar nearly drowned out the sound of battle. Argon looked to the sky, and a fiery blast descended upon him. These were no ravens that circled above him. The fearsome breath of the red dragons of coral melted the soldiers' armors, and turned living flesh to ash and dust. I've read that before. In Search of Joy, Confessions of a Heretic. I take a deep breath and stand still. I long to absorb every moment of joy, inhale the evaporation of someone else's soul from their thickening blood. The border between reality and dream fades. It seems that everyone beyond the wall can hear the throbbing in my head, but it's only my fantasy. A ringing silence fills the room. The fifth sacrifice has been made. My mistress, the most beautiful of goddesses, will be happy. I'll take care of everything. Fragrant flowers, cut at the climax of their beauty, are now part of the masterpiece, which is worthy of Shaylin herself. So what if the narrow-minded priest rejected me and my gift? I serve the never-fading rose herself, not the worms that bite into her stem to suck at her life-giving juices. Won't be long now before I finish my job. I've already found the material. Her eyes are gray and her hair is dark blonde. She's fading into the dirt. I will rewrite her destiny. Hi, Cooking Almanac of the Inner Sea by Jubilas Northropple, who is a companion in Kingmaker. It is perhaps Avistan's most popular dish. In the capital of Cheliax, it is baked in a cheese crust and sprinkled with lemon juice. The local fishermen use a different cooking method in Kadira, which is on the opposite end of Avistan. There you will find it finely chopped and mixed cold ingredients. The exact origin of the dish remains unknown, but it is generally believed to have been invented in Andoran, and spread around the globe by seafarers and pilgrims. It's served as plain pate in its most basic version. To prepare it, soak the herring in spice marinade, then mince it into a spreadable paste. Add a mashed tart green apple, hard-boiled quail eggs, the freshest butter you can find, and half an onion. The list of ingredients may vary in the inland regions. In the region of Nermathos, beef or lamb is used for this snack. I once tasted a highly original and equally highly disgusting version cooked with milk and mushrooms on the border of Druma. So it's a good idea to hold on to one copy of this Almanac for a random encounter later in the game. I read that already. Read this as well. And that. Prodigal Sons. It's done, I said. Milliken studied me with narrowed eyes. You look awfully clean, he said. Where's the knife? In answer, the first shouts went up from the inn. Fire, screamed Ilna, and then the other voices joined hers. In an instant, Milliken's entrepreneurial instincts took over, and he sprang for the door, tossing the crossbow aside. Outside, the roof of the inn was already smoking oily black against the sunset, flame licking through the thatching in places. With a scream of pain, Milliken ran for the creek. I looked at Fargus. Needing no further cue, we each grabbed up armfuls of supplies and sprinted off in the opposite direction. After 10 minutes of leaped brambles and ducked branches, we stopped to catch our breath. Back the way we'd come, the smoke was still visible, though the sounds had faded to just the faint and frantic pealing of a church bell. That was close, Fargus said, leaning against a tree and breathing hard. Agreed, I puffed, staring down at the cloak full of bread that now made up our sole possessions. Then the sound of the bell reminded me of something. About what you said back there, I asked. You said Shaylin. I thought you were a priest of Desna. Fargus grunted. A man's faith is a personal thing, he said, tying up the cloak. Now shut up and keep running. And we did. Adventures of a Fearless Crusader, Briggy the Sausage Maker. By Berthamel from Pitax. The Sharp Word Publishing Company. For dinner, the wounded were served cabbage soup. This didn't surprise them in the slightest. They had the same dish for dinner for a week. The hospital's residents used to be lucky enough to get potatoes and even turnips sometimes. But about a month ago, the Knights of the Order of the Thrice Holy Shining Sun and Dissipating Darkness Scimitar of our beloved goddess Renray accidentally shot a catapult the wrong direction, and annihilated the cart of the farmer who supplied the hospital with these vegetable delicacies. Ever since, the wounded only had cabbage soup for dinner, occasionally with a bit of protein when the odd cockroach crawled into the pot. After enjoying their delightful meal, the wounded stuffed their smoking pipes with something which rather more resembled hay than tobacco. Their bad habits demanded the inhalation of some smoke or other after mealtime. But with these practical matters happily resolved, they fell to talking. Which demon do you think is the most dangerous? Asked Wuzlik the spearman, scratching the stub of his leg with the stub of his arm. I think it's Abracandilus. Those monsters are cunning and sneaky, almost like Varisians. And their teeth are even sharper. Look. He illustrated his point for his comrades by holding up his remaining fingers. 2.5 of them. Depends the way you look at it, answered Gregory the artillerist. Though she could hardly look at it at all. Her eyes were covered with bandages. You Abercondilus are easy pickings, but Baylors are a different thing. He hits you with his whip, and your eyes pop out. She waved her pipe energetically, casting its contents into Wizlick's face. While the latter was coughing and brushing himself off, Briggy joined the conversation. Baylors and Brecondilus are alright, I suppose. I'd say there isn't a demon in the world scarier than a regular louse. Of course, the other demons can teleport places, but the louse doesn't even need to do that. Wherever you look, it's already there. Then he stuck his hand under his shirt, pulled out the subject of his speech from somewhere in his armpit, and demonstrated it to his friends. You can run away from a big demon with a whip. Who can run away from lice? They sting everyone, from the foot soldier to the general. Even the queen herself isn't immune. Now you might say it doesn't do much harm. After all, how much blood can one louse drink? But I'm telling you, think how much soldiers' blood they've drunk altogether. It's got to be a whole sea, wouldn't you think? More than all the demons in the abyss. And if anyone tells me louse isn't a demon, then haha to them. Could a monster like that come from anywhere besides the abyss? Fairy Tales of Avestan. A long time ago, in a time before remembering, there was a furious god known as Rovagug, a terrible giant worm with 1,000 teeth and claws. He devoured every world in his path, one after another. But the great gods were displeased with the beast, and delivered unto Rovagug their scourge. Many laid down their feuds to combine forces. Mighty Torag, brilliant Serenre, vicious Asmodeus, crafty Callistria, cold-blooded Pharasma, and many others. Together they faced Rovagug as he arrived to swallow Golarion. The goddess of the sun, Serenre, forbade Rovagug's death, and so the gods imprisoned the fiend deep in the ground, shackled and sleeping. Asmodeus himself would keep the keys to his bonds. The terrible monster remains there still, asleep in his prison. Whenever Rovagug rolls over in his sleep and scratches his back against his prison walls, the earth trembles, volcanoes spit fire. So the world of Golarion is basically a prison for Rovagug. I guess if they ever want to destroy the setting, they just have him wake up. Imagine this. A girl, whose name I shall not disclose, comes to town and immediately purchases the most expensive suburban villa. This newcomer spends unfathomable amounts on charity, even returning several tragically perished citizens to life at her own expense. She's very young. Her rough speech and manners indicate that she's not of noble birth. This leaves the whole town wondering, how did this young lady come into possession of such a large fortune, and why does she spend it so eagerly? The secrets were revealed to me when I was invited to the mysterious girl's house to provide healing services. The young lady reluctantly displayed something she'd been hiding from everyone: terrible acid burns. She forestalled any questions with a single word: Othuliak. The monstrous black dragon's name was well known in the River Kingdoms. She lived in the region for hundreds of years, inspiring terror and emptying settlements. Many experienced dragon hunters attempted to put a stop to her, and all perished. No one knew where Othuliak's lair was, or where she would strike next. The wounds Othuliak's acid breath left on my patient's body were terrible, but her soul was hurt much worse. The girl and her friends had found the lair of the dragon. They could have gathered hunters to destroy the monster, but they instead kept silent in search of profit. When the lair's mistress was absent, they'd carry treasure out, little by little. Othuliak suspected something was happening, so she set an ambush for the thieves, and they were dealt with cruelly. My patient pretended to be dead, surviving while the dragon devoured the bodies of her friends. She had much gold left at her disposal, but it came with the burden of memories that recalled devastated cities and countless people burned by acid. Unable to tolerate the guilt, the girl tried to atone for ill-gotten gains with good deeds. I was able to heal her physical wounds. When we parted, she told me she planned to spend the rest of her wealth organizing an expedition to Othuliak's lair to end the beast. I recently heard a rumor that the villa had been abandoned for quite some time now. It's possible the owner left for other lands. My heart tells me her bones lie in the lair of Othuliak. that bring terror and plague to the River Kingdoms. So in Kingmaker you can actually fight Ulthuliak. And it's fitting because the node on the map requires a fairly high perception check to find. So the detail in this story where no one knows where Ulthuliak's lair is at coincides with that mechanic. Shadows of Absalom by Pax Grimetra. Nuan Quant peeped through a slit in the window shutter. The visitor was staggering at the porch. Nuan had promised himself many centuries ago they'd never have to deal with halflings again, after the case of the Clockwork Head, sorry, not word. Even the bleaching is better than some adventures. However, there is something disturbing in the visitor's appearance. Something was wrong. What do you say, Kexi? His assistant at the next window with yarn and... sat at the next window with yarn and knitting needles in her hands. Look at his clothes. They're second-hand. He's a hobo. He is, but you're not quite right. Look at his feet. Kexi looked, trying to make out at least something in faint light of the lantern above the door. Are those... He was shackled. Rather than answering, the gnome stepped toward the door. We shall need a doctor. As if to prove his words, the guest faltered and collapsed onto the knees, and fell headfirst onto the doorstep. 1,000 revolutions. For the third night in a row, I've jumped at the Great Gardeners knocking at my door. I cannot believe it is my turn. To be cut down by a blade washed in the blood of 1,000 revolutions, as a wave of popular outrage washes over me, as my head tumbles down the steps of the scaffold. We take up the sword, and by it we shall perish. Once we struck down the Imperial scum, but now it is we who must face the blade. The insurgent beast called Revolution will never be sated. It needs new victims. This time, it's my comrades and I. The cruelty of the hoarders in power echoes in the cruelty of the paupers, now intoxicated by their own freedom. We wanted change. Well, here it is. This is a country now of mad fanatics, fighting their treacherous past every day. Former friends are today's foes. My workshop has been converted into a secret headquarters. If I could do it all over again, I'd repair to my easel and refrain from the cause that has sent me down this path.
I'm off!
Well, there's Horus's library. And I'm going to call it here. Next time we'll finish Camellia's quest in this area. And possibly start the attack on the Great Garrison. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.